So just for a test then, that's natural just with the light and the curtains open. And then this is with that light there. Wow, I'm getting horror vibes. No, see, I think to me that's 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm in the middle of a road and a car is about to hit me. No, we'll go natural.
It's the Daylight Midnight Show.
Hello and welcome, and it's kind of rinse and repeat with what I've said in previous weeks at this time. It's dull, it's drab, it's dreary, but there's nothing we can do about it. It's the end of January and there's not much light around, I'm afraid. Let's just embrace it. That's my ambition for the day. I'm also going to embrace the scruffiness. I think officially I'm going to call this one the Scruffy episode, because Outfit Roulette dictated that I had to wear a dressing gown with nothing underneath, sunglasses and have my hair down. And I sat here this morning and got a busy day ahead, and I thought either I do the show now or I take the time to shave and get my hair looking washed and looking very, very nice, and it might end up being delayed until Saturday or Sunday. So I thought, embrace the scruffiness, be who I am, and we'll just do the show as it is. And if I look like I've just woken up after a very heavy night on the town with some rock people, then I do apologise for that. We are embracing the scruffiness. And also very scruffy is the paper that I'm using at the moment, because as I've explained before, I'm terrible with technology. My computer isn't talking to my printer, so I'm having to cut up bits of paper and write on them myself. So our slogan for the week is embracing the scruffiness as well, but it's a nice slogan. You just never know. That's what we're going for this week. And you can see that as a positive or negative. You know, you could look at it as, well, you just never know, you know, something terrible might happen. But you can also see it as a positive, because you just never know what's around the corner. You know, you could be planning a winter here in the east of England and then suddenly end up going to the Arctic Circle for 7 weeks, for example. You just never know. So let's do our fascinating fun fact for a Friday then, which is this. Of all the cells in your body, about 39 trillion of them are bacteria. There's a lovely thought for you, especially if you're about to have your breakfast. So let's do my week in 10 words then. Tell you what I've been up to just using 10 words. So in the last 7 days, nice weekend, jigsaw, obviously, theatre trip, interesting meeting, this. The nice weekend, I wasn't sure how to say that. We had a very nice meal, very nice weekend with family. The jigsaw, I referred to my conversation last week about jigsaw. The theatre trip was nice because I do quite a lot of performing and hosting. It's quite nice for me to just go and switch off and watch other people do their thing on stage. And I can tell if I'm watching something really good and captivating, because normally I'll sit there and I'll think about the way it's been made and the directing and the set and how people are doing stuff. You just can't switch off from it. I imagine if you've been a chef or a waiter and you go for a meal in a restaurant, you can't just sit there and eat the meal. You're going to think about the way it's been presented and produced, right? So it's the same for me, and I got really lost in what I was watching this week, so that was really, really nice. And the interesting meetings thing just continues from what I was talking about last week. I think it's the time of year at the moment. There's a lot of venues that don't have a lot going on between Christmas and spring, so this is when they're booking stuff in and they want to talk about stuff they're going to do later this year. So they haul in people like me to see what ideas I've got. So yet again, it was meetings that might not go anywhere, but one of those this week in particular I think could lead to some stuff, which I won't tell you about now, but might involve me doing a podcast. So that's my week in 10 words. Let's go on to the purple card, which is no longer a purple card. It was a purple card, and then I ran out of purple cards, so it became a yellow card, and then I ran out of yellow cards, so it's now a green card, but it still has a theme song. I've done my week in 10 words, so you know where I have been. Let's see what I've written on the card that's green. So the green card or white card, whatever colour it might happen to be on any given week, is where I write down little ideas during the week and then I talk to you about them, and I'm going to have to change my glasses or I just can't read it. So apologies to Outfit Roulette for that. Point number 1 this week was a question put to me this week. Were you using a Christmas mug on the last edition of the show? Yes, I was. Well, actually, I would call it a winter mug, but I suppose the fact that it has a snowman on it and some decorations means it might be a Christmas mug. But it's the biggest mug I own. It makes a lovely cup of tea in there, and it just feels comfortable doing it. And it brought back something that I'm sure I've talked about on this show before, which is why can't Christmas decorations be left out until the end of January? It's a very dark month. No one really knows what to do with themselves. You've had all that excitement of Christmas and New Year, and then suddenly there's nothing, unless you're looking forward to Valentine's Day. So why not keep the decorations up and keep that festive feeling going? And anytime I suggest that, I get called weird and lots of other words that I wouldn't want to use on this show. But it strikes me as odd because every year people are putting their decorations up earlier and earlier. I mean, now people start posting pictures of their Christmas tree that they've decorated in early October. And most people say, well, that's wonderful, you're getting into the festive spirit early. But if I leave anything up after January the 6th, or heaven forbid, use a Christmas mug in the last week of January, I get slated for it. So with that in mind, my determination to, in the future, make this a thing where the Christmas festivities just go on, I would like to introduce you to our new friend, the Daylight Midnight Snowman. There we are. He's going to be there with me. That's going to mess up the camera a little bit, but it gives you something to focus on while I'm waffling on. And I'll try and keep him on there. There you go, at least for this week and possibly next week as we head into Feb. And if you'd like to suggest a name for the Daylight Midnight Snowman, do please get in contact with me using the email address at the end of the show. He's lived in 5 different houses, 6 if you include the shop he was bought from originally, 4 with me and 1 with the person before who gave it to me as a present. So anyway, that's that. Point number 2 on the green card, different ways of holding mugs. The traditional way is the best. Yeah, again last week, I think it was last week, I was talking about the way that people hold mugs, and I said, is it just something that's in us that we pick up from our parents? Is there a better way to hold a mug? Well, I've been doing a lot of experimenting over the course of the last week, and I've kind of disproved my own point, because if you've got a mug like this, then actually this is the best way to hold it and use it. But I still think my original point is a valid one, which is that maybe this isn't necessarily the best design for a mug, and there might be something new that we can come up with. So that's something I'm going to go on thinking about. And in fact, my eldest son had an inspirational idea about a novelty mug you could make, which I'm not going to tell you about, because I actually think if he goes ahead with it and can make one, it could be marketable and could really sell well and could revolutionise the future of the mug industry. But me being me, I did go and research just how long we've been using cups and mugs, and I might tell you all about that next week. I might actually do a mug information overload special next week, all about our history of how we drink and why we drink and the evolution of the shape of a cup, how long it's been around for, and when the handle was put on it and all that kind of thing, because I find that stuff interesting, and once I've learnt it, before I forget it, I might as well share it with you. So I'll probably do that next week. And finally, point number 3, if I can read my own handwriting, why are the smelliest foods the hardest to open and the easiest to spill? Yeah, I had a little bit of an incident with a tin of mackerel in spicy tomato sauce this week, trying to get food done quickly, and it just strikes me that a lot of the things that make the most mess and create the most horrible smells are the ones that are in the packaging that's really hard to open and more likely for you to spill and cause yourself a few problems and stains and smells in your own house. So just be glad that this isn't smell-o-vision invented yet and you can't smell what's going on in my kitchen at the moment despite using bleach 3 days in a row. I know. Anyway, that's the green card, which takes us all the way up to Interactive Gregory, a little story that we are writing together. And Bev has written this week's chapter. And again, it's gone off on a weird tangent that I wouldn't have chosen myself, but it's up to you. You're the guys writing the story. It's up to you where it goes, and I'm not going to keep trying to push you in certain directions. So if you remember, Gordon Grape has been blown away from his home vine. He's landed in a weird land. He's made friends with an apple and a peach. And they've just decided that they are all going to work together to make life better for all of them. I'm going to have to put them back on again. So chapter 7 is this. Thank you, Bev. Taking inspiration from Lord of the Flies, they established a quick system of government, with Gordon being designated their leader, the Lord of the Fruit. They sorted warmth, shelter and a well for drinking water, but were struggling to find sources of food. And being tasty fruit, this brought up the terrible possibility of cannibalism. Where would you like to take the story next? It's over to you for chapter 8. So what will I be wearing next week? Let's turn to our friend Outfit Roulette and do our choices by chance. So we throw the rotating random coloured cube in the air, and that will give us blue. So next week I'll be wearing a black shirt. Over the top of that I'll be wearing whatever is in column blue again, which will be a black jacket. So a black shirt and a black jacket. And to accessorise all that, will it be a blue hat trick? What on earth have I done there? That's quite frightening that I've managed to jumble it up in midair. So let's try that again. For column 3 will be red, which is nothing. So black shirt, black jacket and nothing. Will my hair be up or down? Let's do the coronal coin toss. I knew it was too good to be true. I managed to keep up my hand last week. This week I've dropped it. Let's have a look. I haven't got the right glasses on. That is tails. So my hair will be in a ponytail. There we are. Enjoy the darkness, my friends, and embrace the scruffiness. I will see you next week. Have a great 7 days.